So the All Blacks didn't quite start their Rugby World Cup campaign the way they would have liked, defeated by France, but now they need to get back on the winning track, and their first game to try and do so will be up against Namibia. And in this one, we are going to be trying to predict who the All Blacks will be going with in their starting 15 alongside the reserves. Now, we will see quite a different looking side from what we did see in the last game up against France. To help me in this task of predicting, I've got Rugbyitch. Mate, you are in Paris at the moment. I'm sure there will be a lot of French supporters absolutely loving that first result for the All Blacks. Have you made enough changes that you feel will be able to result in a monumental victory here?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for this game. Like you said, I mean, France looked pretty impressive against the All Blacks, and yeah, that's definitely one to forget from an All Black perspective. But yeah, moving forward, I think this is probably the perfect game for them going against the, Namibia. I mean, the Italians, did a pretty impressive performance against them. I think the All Blacks can do the same once again. So, yeah, just looking forward to this one.
Jumping straight into our front rows. Who have you gone with as your 1, 2, 3? Of course, the All Blacks in that last game up against France. Scrums weren't quite working the way they would have liked. Tyrell Lomax still out with injury as well. So who have you got in that front row?
Yeah, so in terms of this front row, I've made a lot of changes, actually. I've gone with 3 new changes here. I'm going actually, number 1, I've gone with Opportunity Farsi, played number 1 position. Number 2, gone with Dan Coles. And number 3, I've gone with Tamati Williams. So, yeah, that's kind of the front row I've gone with. It was a big call because, again, you could really just switch around Offa and Tamati if you wanted to. But, again, Offa's played more as the 1, going back towards the blue season. And Tamati's also played more as a 3 before the Crusaders. So, just made a lot more sense.
Righty, so I've gone number 1, Tamati Williams. So,
okay.
I guess I've always been the other way, haven't I? I've always played him as a 1, you've always played him as a 3.
We're switching roles now. Okay, interesting.
Exactly right. So, number 1, I have gone with Williams. Number 2, Dane Coles, I have also given the opportunity to. And then number 3, I've gone with Fletcher Null. So, 2 Crusaders props in this game. Okay. The only way to complete that Crusaders connection, of course, would be Cody Taylor in the middle, but instead, I did give the nod to Coles, looking at the locking duo. Now, we got to see this man come off the bench in the last game up against France, which makes me think he has to be match fit, or else they wouldn't risk him in that regard. And that is going to be Brodie Retallick as my number 4. And then number 5, I've gone with the man who started at 6 in the last game, and that is Tupavai.
Okay. Interesting. So that I do have a change there compared to you. I mean, similar to you, I have gone with Brodie Retallick at number 4, but I have actually gone with Sam Whitelock at number 5. So it's odd because we both haven't really gone for Scott Barrett in this case. And again, I guess it's because, there's a bit of uncertainty around him in terms of he'll be available for this game. But, I mean, he's a great player overall. So again, the All Blacks are kind of blessed in that department. So we have kind of picks for choices there. But yeah, I guess in terms of my loose forwards for this side, I've actually gone to the likes of, this is a big call, but I've gone with Dalton again at the number 6. And I'm not sure this is probably the right call because I should have probably just gone with Luke Jacobson here because he's probably known more as a 6. And again, we still don't have Rizal because he is still injured as what they've said. But he actually did bring up Ethan Blackadder, but I'm not sure he'll be ready in time. I don't know if he'll be ready to start in this game. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that sense. But yeah, that's the reason why I'm going with Dalton at number 6. Number 7, I actually have gone with Sam Cane. I just think that you've got to put him in this game because he didn't get enough. Well, he didn't get any minutes in that France game as he was taken out last minutes. And for number 8, I'm actually going with Luke Jacobson. So this is where I've gone with him here. Give Odyssey a bit of a rest. I think it's the best probably game to do it in. So yeah, that's why I've gone with Luke Jacobson as number 8.
Okay, so I have actually got 3 differences in this department.
I like it. Okay.
Not in terms of the players, but in terms of the positions.
Yeah.
Number 6, I have gone with Luke Jacobson, giving him that chance. I believe he should have been playing 6 in that last game up against France, rather than putting Tupavai in there, who hadn't really played any 6 in quite some time. Number 7, I've gone with Dalton Papali'i. So I have decided to leave Sam Cane out of the side just in case. Now, if he is match fit, I believe he will be the 7. But with back spasms, it's a very tricky one that they may want to monitor a little bit closer before chucking him back into the game. And in a matchup against Namibia, I feel like they don't need to risk him just before heading into that Italian game. And then number 8, I've gone with Adi Savia, keeping him in the side, giving him another chance here up against Namibia. Now looking through at the back line. Number 9, I've gone with Cam Roygaard. Of course, I had to give him the shot here. He is an absolutely phenomenal talent, and they wouldn't give him a chance up against the French. I feel like maybe the mistake was not playing him off the bench, trying to add that X factor near the end of the game. So I've gone with Roygaard as my starting 9 in the place of Aaron Smith. And then number 10, I have gone once again with Richie Mo'unga.
Ooh, okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Well, similar to you, I actually have also gone with Cam Roygaard there at the number 9 position. But yeah, for number 10, I've actually gone with a bit of a switch up here. I've actually gone with Damien McKenzie as number 10 here. I just think this is probably a good game for him, really, to get some minutes under his belt. Again, similar to, I guess, well, Cam Roygaard, we didn't see any of him in that France game. So I think this is kind of a new combination, which could be the future 9-10 combo for the All Blacks after this World Cup. So why not give it a go, going forward? So yeah, I just think that's kind of a good combo that I don't know. I like just on the eye test. It looks nice looking at the 9-10. But yeah, we'll see how it pays off though.
I almost failed my eye test because I thought I was looking at shapes rather than letters. But going into the centre combination, number 12 and 13, who have you gone with?
Yeah, so for the number 12 and 13, I've gone with a pretty bold call here, but I've actually gone with David Havili as the number 12 here. I just think I want to see him back in that 12 spot, and we haven't seen a lot of him, since his injuries. So I'm kind of hoping that this is kind of the game to introduce him back into the squad and kind of just get a lot of minutes, because I'm not sure if he did come off the bench in that France game, because I think he was included in the bench, but I'm not sure. I can't remember if he got a lot of minutes under his belt there. But yeah, this is the reason why I've gone with him to start in this case. And for number 13, this is a bold call, by the way, guys, a very bold call. But I've actually gone with Lester van Anku here at the number 13. So I've gone with a Crusaders duo, which is, I'm not sure if it's the right call, because I could have gone with him at the number 11. But I don't know. I feel like giving Reiko a rest is probably needed, and you're not going to give him, there's not many opportunities to do it. So I think this is another reason why I chose to go with a Crusaders duo, because they have played with each other in the past in this exact duo. So yeah, why not?
For myself, number 12, I did also go with David Havili. Now, it is rumoured that Jordie Barrett will be available for this game, but I decided I would rather go with David Havili, get him some minutes under his belt, and maybe, depending on what happens for the ABs going forward, a combination in the midfield that looks so secure, and Barrett and Ioane is now starting to have a few more cracks shown in it over the last few games. So I just want to see a little bit more of something different for the ABs in their back line, and perhaps this game with Havili at number 12. We may get to see that. And of course, Jordie Barrett not playing last week. He hasn't quite had a game in France as of yet, but you wouldn't want to risk that injury if he isn't 100%. Number 13, I've gone with Rieko Ioane. Now, I was very close, like yourself, to put in Lester Nuku, but it made me think, if I left Rieko Ioane at 13, Havili goes into 12, and they play well together, perhaps that is a combination the All Blacks could use in their games going forward.
I wouldn't use it. The thing is that the only reason why I said this, by the way, and we made this discuss later on, but I just feel that Havili record combination has kind of been broken now since what we saw in that Irish series back in 2022, because that was the combination we went with. That was seen as the duo which was gonna kind of break that Irish centre combination with Aki as well. Well, really I think it was Henshaw and Ringrose at the time, but I don't know if that's the combination to go with. I'm a bit scared, because it doesn't seem to have the defensive, minded. It's weird to me saying this, because me thinking Jordie Barrett is more defensive minded than Havili is just a bit strange to think. But I don't know. It just seems that Barrett and Reiko's always worked out better. But I could be wrong in this sense, guys. But it's just what I've seen a lot more from these recent games.
And I guess the counter argument of that is going with what we think the All Black selectors will do. When have they ever used logic in their selections lately?
Yes, okay. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. My point's obsolete now. It doesn't even matter now.
No, but you make a good point. The Jordie Barrett-Rieko combo, I think, stylistically works better for the All Blacks. It just seems to be, at the moment, trying to get that backline right. The ABs still have a couple cracks that they haven't quite been able to fill in just the last little while. But now moving on to the back three. Number 11, it is Caleb Clark for myself. I've decided to leave Mark Talia out of this lineup for this week. Keep him fresh for the game up against the Italians. And I believe that you want to manage his workload, because he does seem to be the man that they want to pick in the starting lineup up against the big sides. And with the All Blacks, if they can beat Italy, they'll go to the quarterfinals. They'll either be playing South Africa, Ireland, or Scotland. And in that case, you, of course, want to have your big players. Number 14, I have gone with Will Jordan. Once more, I feel like we didn't really get to see a huge amount of him in the last game. If Amoni Narawa was match fit, this would be the perfect game to give him that chance at number 14. sadly going out of the squad with an injury. And number 15, to close out my starting lineup, I've gone with Damian McKenzie.
Okay.
Reason being,
I like that.
they don't seem to like to play him when Mo'unga's at 10. They don't have him coming off the bench. Beauden Barrett, I believe that he is another player that they will want to shelter a little bit during this group stage to make sure doesn't end up with an injury. But I'd love to see McKenzie get a little bit of an opportunity, maybe to work with Mo'unga, have a bit of a double playmaker role. I know that hasn't worked sometimes in the past for New Zealand, but point just before made. When have the All Blacks ever done something in the last little while that we've been like, yeah, that's a good idea. Why not? But yeah, McKenzie number 15, close out my side.
Yeah, that's good. I like it overall. Yes, I mean, similar to you, I have also gone with Caleb Clark at number 11. I think this is a game suited towards him. And I think it's just, he can get kind of gets his hands on the ball and just, score a lot of tries in the process. So I think he can definitely do well in this game. In terms of 14, however, I actually have gone with Martellet here. So I've actually switched him from the 11 to the 14. And give him a bit more minutes because, I'm making a bold prediction early on, guys, but I think if there's one player that could do it and beat that try scoring record, it could be Martellet. So, 2 tries against the French already. There's a lot of easier games come up in the group stages. I think it could be a good shot for him. Again, he has to be starting, though, but that's the reason why I've gone with number 14. And then this is where I've gone with the big call. I've shifted Will Jordan from the 14 to the 15. So I'm kind of hoping this is what happens because, I'm kind of thinking of a squad which would happen really more with Robinson in charge, but at the same time, there's obviously some players that may not be included, like the likes of Lessa Fananku, because he's obviously going off to France. But besides that, I kind of like the squad overall. But I guess we'll move on then towards the, I assume the bench now. I'll give you guys my bench here from the front row. I've gone with the likes of Samisoni Tikalaho coming off the bench. I think he's probably the best suited in this case. Give a rest to Cody Taylor. In terms of the props, I'm actually going with the likes of Ethan de Groot here because there's not a lot of options I've seen in that position, so I've had to give him some minutes in this game. And then I've gone with actually likes of Fletcher Newell, who you selected as your starter in this case for the runner 18 spot. So well, what about yourself?
So for myself, I have got Samisoni Taukei'aho as the 16, so we have both decided to give Cody Taylor a break, and I assume that is because we're both starting him up against the Italians in a few weeks' time, more than likely.
Don't know. Never going to give it my trade secrets,
I feel like any time we try and make a bold prediction, though, that is when we find out he's got an injury like 2 days before the game, something along those lines. So we don't want to jinx them, of course, with injuries, but I'll tell you now, it's who I'm going with. It's my starting 2, but now number 17, going to be Ethan de Groot for myself, and then number 18, Nepo Lulalis, so the 2 who started in the last game up against France. And then I believe that Tyrell Lomax, he is just about back, maybe just in time for that Italy game. Looking through at the rest of the forward replacements, number 19, I've gone with Sam Whitelock. Number 20, man, he will be fresh off a plane. You're at the airport yourself. You may even see him walking past. It's Ethan Blackadder. Imagine if we do see him in the background and you just
walk behind me
because you're looking at me. Oh, I've got 2 Ethans off my bed. Sorry, that's completely irrelevant. But Ethan Blackadder at number 20.
Yeah, no, similar to you, actually. I've been it's not surprising that we kind of go similar in this case, but from number 19 spots, I can't go with Whiteball because I did select him in my starting lineup, but I have actually gone with Tupa Valai, who you selected to start in this game. And I have also gone with Ethan Blackadder to come off the bench because I think if he is the play in this game, I don't think he'll start, but I think he can come off the bench because, again, I do believe he's been playing with an NPC, so he'll be match fit already for this anyway. So I think coming off the bench is probably better suited for him as well.
Okay, so that now leaves us with the back replacements.
Indeed.
Who have you got those last 3 spots, the crucial ones? Because I would say for the All Blacks lately, it seems to be sometimes those guys off the bench who haven't quite been able to keep that momentum flowing. So 3 big players in your back line to replace. Who have you got?
Well, I think it was pretty easy in terms of the scrum half because I think we're going to both have a similar case near where we need Aaron Smith a rest. So I've gone with Finley Christie here. I'm ahead of him in that place. For number 22 here, I actually did go with Beauden Barrett, but you've kind of gone on my head a bit saying that, maybe it's a good time to maybe rest him, which I do agree because looking back at that game, you'd arguably say Beauden Barrett was probably one of the standout players actually in that France game from a New Zealand perspective. So maybe you do rest him in this game, actually. But again, I do have Havili. You can maybe play a 10 if you needed him to. I don't know, but you do need cover from McKenzie, so I'll stick with Bowden Barrett. I don't think you got to stick with him, I guess, in that case. And then, yeah, for number 23, this is where I've actually gone with Anton Brown. So, yeah, just, again, he can cover a variety of positions, so that's the reason why I've gone with him there.
Okay, so number 21 for myself, I have also gone with Finlay Christie. Didn't quite have the impact off the bench that the ABs would have liked, and I feel like in this case he really needs to build his confidence heading further in this Rugby World Cup, because I know a lot of people at the moment would favour Aaron Smith, Cam Roigard as the combination of the nines that they would go with. Would you agree, Tim?
No. I'm always back my boy, Finlay Christie. He should be starting, right?
2 out of 10 in the last game up against France in the match rating.
Yeah, I didn't look at this. I don't look at the stats. I don't look at the ratings for that one. I think he was just having a warm-up game. He knew, it's the French. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to use all of his talent on that game.
Exactly right. He thought he was playing golf and wanted the lowest score possible.
Yeah, probably.
Rather than the highest. Number 22. I've gone with Bowden Barrett. A little bit of a curveball there. I did actually go with him as my number 22. Okay. Reason being, he can play 10 as well as playing 15. Maybe they transition McKenzie to the 10. That's why Bowden coming at fullback. So that's why I've gone with Bowden Barrett there. And then number 23, it's his brother, Geordie Barrett, as my last man in the starting side. He could come in for Harvili. He could even take that fullback jersey, perhaps.
Yeah, we've been 14.
The ABs. Yeah. Who knows? Oh, I tell you what, the All Blacks, they love doing that, don't they?
They love
a random player
they love
in the random jersey. We have to wait and see whether we are correct. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to this lineup prediction for the All Blacks versus Namibia game. Do let us know who you think the coaches will be selecting in the comments down below. But thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out Rugbyitch's channel as well as the Rugby Recap podcast, where we do post our previews and reviews of each round of the Rugby World Cup. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We will see you all for the next one.